What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of No Blood, No Foul podcast. I'm your host, Jim. I'm here with Moo, our executive producer, and Kyle. Congratulations, New York Knicks. It's the first time you've beaten the Philadelphia 76ers in 15 games. Golf clap for everybody involved. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it was really the tale of two halves. The Knicks, actually, I don't even really want to say the tale of two halves. It was really just one quarter. The Knicks just absolutely dominated the second quarter, and that was pretty much the difference in the game. Um, Outside of that, they did not look super great. We missed a ton of shots in the second half, but because we blew them out so hard in the second quarter, they really couldn't even make up the difference. We just scored enough to keep the lead at a safe distance, and that was really led by the second unit. And when they got on, they just ran, and you saw that they like didn't really have that much of an advantage when they could not get up pace and up tempo. And it was really great to watch and a little frustrating at times. But I guess another shout out has to go to Mitchell Robinson, Big Mitch, and Tibbs' scheme caused Embiid to have fits all night. I mean, he didn't even score in the first half outside of free throws, which is a pretty damn big deal. Mukow, I don't know why I always do that. Mukow, tell me what you thought about this game.
It shows that they need Ben Simmons.
Yeah,
Um, Maybe not Simmons. I think that should probably have sailed, but their ball movement was just brutal.
yeah.
They don't have any. I don't think they have really any point guard. Right? Even with Simmons, Simmons is a small forward. Who's their point guard? Who's their starting point guard? Seth Curry.
Uh, yeah. And that's actually another thing that I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
because Seth Curry's been pretty damn good this year. But the huge difference is that Fournier played great defense on him tonight. Like he was not able to get a look off because he got around the screens all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's what they were doing, right? The only play they had was the screen at the top, and they just ran it again and again. But it's yeah,
And
I mean,
yeah,
right?
Once Evan got around those screens, the play just died. There was nothing else for
It
them to
did.
do.
And if you're, I know I looked at the stats. I think Harris had 29 and 7 or something like that. Like
Yeah.
really nice stats. Honestly, I watched. Admittedly I missed a good part of the first half, first quarter, definitely. But he was invisible to me.
Yeah.
Second half, he didn't do a thing. It
Yeah,
was in right.
it's just like empty points
It was
because he was second half. He was 5 of 7 for 12 points. He was leading them, but yeah, they just never really got enough momentum. Every time they hit a few shots in a row, we kind of just like Rose would hit a bucket, or Fournier would hit a bucket. Just enough to like keep them at arm's length.
it was too much relying on guys like Korkmaz and Niang and Danny Green, right? When you have to get your points from those guys to try to win, you're kind of in trouble, and that's what I felt like the whole night. That the Sixers, I mean, they had nothing. Embiid was, I don't know, was he sick or is he?
Hurt?
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. He was not fun to
he,
watch
he
tonight.
was he was awful. All right, Mitch did a really great job on him. I think the size and the strength. And this is the one example where all those extra pounds probably helped. I think the size and the strength and the length bothered Embiid.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
just he didn't look like himself. And once you take Embiid out without Simmons, I mean this six. I think the broadcast team says that without Simmons or a comparable shot creator, this team is not a playoff team. I think that's
I
what.
mean, I feel like that's a stretch because we
Uh,
know that Embiid can be really good. I just, again, I think it reminded me a lot of what the Hawks did against
right,
Randall last year in the playoffs,
right.
is kind of what we did to them tonight. It was like pretty much as soon as Embiid put the ball on the floor, we sent somebody at him. It was mostly RJ, which caused him to get burned on a few rotations. But Evan had a great steal down the stretch of the game too, coming on a double. I mean, Mitch had 5 fouls, and he didn't foul. He fouled 5 fouls in like the beginning of the third quarter, and he didn't foul out, which is I mean, very unlike Mitch, and especially when you got a guy like Embiid who I believe he shot 9 free throws in the first half. and then I think he only
I think
shot two.
he shot 10, he hit 9. It was 9 for 10.
Okay, so yeah, he only shot one free throw in the second half, which
He
again,
was, I mean, he looked gassed. You know, whatever reason, he definitely didn't look like himself. But they threw up a stat. I didn't know it last year in the play because we loved picking on Randall for his playoff performance. I didn't realize Embiid was a turnover machine in the playoffs.
yeah, that
Like,
stat was nuts. He had like
that was
what, like
crazy.
30 turnovers.
Yeah, 27 assists, 33 turnovers to 33 turnovers.
It's funny because I've seen that argument on the general board on Real GM that Embiid was pretty terrible at the end of that series. Everybody remembers the dunk that
Right.
Simmons didn't take, but Embiid wasn't good in particularly either.
I think that's an example of showing that even with Simmons, come playoffs, they're kind of like they struggle, kind of like the Knicks. They have more talent, so I think that's why they got further. But
Yeah,
but they don't have guys that could create easy shots. Simmons is we already know the reason why he's where he is at right now is he's he does everything else, but he just doesn't create shots, especially when you need him. And then Embiid's a center, and you can't rely on centers nowadays to carry the the load offensively. I don't think.
I mean
Um,
they probably should have went after Kemba too. Like,
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I think they did, but I think we've been talking about Dame Lillard, Knicks. Honestly, the Sixers could use him more. If I was the
oh
Sixers,
yeah,
I'd look to empty
absolutely.
out everything and just bring Lillard in to pair with Embiid.
I think that's what what's his face? Oh my god, who's the general manager of the 76ers? I'm drawing a blank. Maury. That's what Maury has been
Trying,
waiting
he's
on.
trying
You
to,
know, like
yeah.
I think he certainly did want Harden, but I think he really
That's
wants
the yeah. When he said he wants a proven star, I think it said Lillard in the
yeah.
subtitle.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's
They
going on,
probably
fellas?
oh
Hey,
slice. Hey. Hey, I didn't tease about you not being able to make the show at the beginning of the show. Now I feel bad. I could have made a good joke about it, but here you are. Welcome, welcome,
Um,
welcome.
I appreciate. I appreciate. Sorry, I missed you boys lately. Just been a little bit busy personally, but yo, sorry to interrupt what you guys were talking about, man. But man, these Knicks look real good tonight, didn't they?
Yeah,
yeah.
we were just probably about to get started about talking about Kemba Walker. So, were you able to watch the game tonight?
I was able to catch a little bit of the game while I was kind of moving, packing stuff. But I feel like this was what the first game where he really looked like the Kemba that we wanted him to be. Right, he hit those shots off the pick and roll. Was able to work around the defense a little bit, and I feel like this was the game that we need Kemba to be. And I feel like he played pretty well.
Yeah, you know what? It was the first game we've seen him get like actual dribble penetration. Like
Yep.
you see, he was finally able to beat his man, and that made a lot of great looks for a lot of people. You can't play drive and kick if you can't drive. So,
Facts. Facts.
And that's a good sign because the Sixers they have a pretty good defense. They have really good defenders.
Yep.
yeah, I
Um,
think Maxi's a pretty good defender.
yeah,
Obviously, Thibault was on
Bible.
Rose. I don't know if he played Kemba at all, but um, yeah, he's solid. Obviously, Danny Green is solid, even though he's probably a corpse by now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
No,
was.
they have a very solid defensive team as well. I mean, Doc, you can say whatever you want to say about him as a coach overall, but he's always had good defensive,
Right.
tendencies and plays or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Moody, your point. I mean, it's a very tough defense, and for Kemba to show up against a defense like this really bodes well. I want to wait a little bit to kind of catch back, or I don't want to regurgitate what you guys might have talked about, but him and Fournier are the two type of guys we need against a team like the Sixers. As we saw the Celtics in a double overtime victory, even though they made some
Right.
clumsy mistakes at the end of that game, but those are the type of players that we need that bring that skill set the Knicks haven't had to advance past these teams, or at the very least, just seem fucking competitive. Part of my language, like we didn't against the Hawks last year.
Yeah, I think Fournier has been really the key, right? It just seems like in every game when the Knicks need a point, he's the guy.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's been making a lot of big shots,
Right.
big three
Huge
pointers.
threes.
Huge.
Huge threes. I mean, man, like, people got really upset Bullock left, and he played a big role for the team, right? But replacing him with Evan Fournier in the starting lineup, like kind of that's, essentially, even though it's not really what it is, that's really what we swapped, right? We swapped Reggie Bullock for Evan Fournier in our rotation, and having that to me is 200% increase. You know what I mean? In terms of confidence that he's going to hit the shot, in terms of a player who can help Julius Randle on the offensive end while still not losing a lot on the defense, which is, what's been our problem before we had a player like Reggie Bullock.
But yeah, so I want to just talk about Evan's defense a little bit. So coming into tonight, Seth Curry, who he was guarding, was scoring 16 points a game on 63% from the field, 62% from three.
Was he?
Yeah. So shout out Evan Fournier's defense. That was a major impact because he's obviously been the second scorer to Embiid. And tonight he was 2 of 6, 0 4 from 3, 4 points.
Fournier's trying. Yeah. I mean, he's not a naturally great defender, but you could definitely see that he's trying.
Yeah, we get size and length on somebody.
Right? And that works. Works in Tibbs' defense.
I feel like the effort is there with a lot of these guys, and that's maybe what we haven't seen. Not, and this is not on Reggie personally, but just in general. But the effort that Evan Fournier has brought on defense, and even and I'm going to go back to the Celtics game because I wasn't able to really catch much of the Magic games. Even though he made that mistake at the end of the game, just that energy, that effort is there. And I think once you kind of pair that with the smartness that Mitchell Robinson, and I love Mitch. If we can speak about him a little bit later on, I'm loving what I'm seeing from him once he gets his legs under him.
Yeah.
I think our team defense is even going to be better than last year. And think about it, we don't even have the top 3 shot blocker. And I know you don't like this move, but the top 3 shot blocker in Nerlens coming off the bench. I think our defense is going to get better throughout the season.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you have to seeing Mitch on the floor for these few games, you kind of forget. I'm gonna throw myself under the bus a little bit. And be like, you can definitely see how much better Mitchell Robinson is than Noel is. His defense is so much more impactful. I don't know if that necessarily happened this game, but there was a few times in the Magic game where they got dribble penetration, saw Mitch, and they just turned right back around and brought the ball back out.
Exactly.
That doesn't happen with Noel. Granted, he's not going to give you too much on offense, but just grabbing offensive rebounds, another 3 offensive rebounds tonight. I guess I'll slice that out of the box since Slice is here right now.
I appreciate that. But no, Jim, I really would just want to piggyback off what you said. Mitch provides that double layer. He provides a perimeter and down low paint defense. And a lot of people think about paint defense being down low, but you got to think about the free throw line as well. That's still considered the paint. And Mitch is able to kind of step back out there and kind of stop that penetration a lot earlier than Nerlens is and a lot of these other big men are because of how mobile he is. And I think that's really the key that a lot of people don't realize. And, one guy that, Knicks fans kind of hated have the comparisons against, Jared Allen kind of does the same. He's a 2-level paint defender, meaning he's able to get the block. But in addition, he's able to catch up to the free throw line extended and stop those drives before they really become a threat.
I wish Mitch had that same offense that Jared Allen has, but because that'd be great.
Lou,
what are your thoughts?
You know what? I think I like the strength. Seems like every game he's looking a little bit sharper. So I think the concern is that he may be I don't know, lack of a better word, fat is kind of not true.
He's thick.
What? He's thick, right?
Thick.
Like
Andre Drummond's thick. Yeah.
But you see the difference between Mitch fat and Embiid fat.
And Drummond fat,
Embiid's huffing and puffing the whole time. Mitch just can't get up as high on his dunks anymore.
Right, but I think that's coming, and when that comes, because he's got to be at 260 plus right now.
Embiid
Mitch,
or Mitch?
They say
Mitch
280.
said he's 280. Yeah,
280,
he said
yeah.
280, but
He's not 280, but
he's definitely, you could tell his legs are really thick, and
that's what I like to see. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of NBA centers have a lot of skinny legs. Sorry, Moo, to cut you off, man. But, like a lot of big men have skinny legs. And Mitch having those kind of tree trunks, I guess you could say, like kind of a throwback to me kind of gives him that strength to match up against those big men like Joel, Brook down low, Giannis down low. When these guys go down low, and then if the Knicks ever switch, I think the Knicks could be a very good zone defensive team. As much as I hate to do that in the NBA, I think if you do it strategically and do it against these elite teams, Mitch can hold his own down low with these with these bigger legs and with his bigger frame while still maintaining that athleticism. I mean, he's going to earn a big money deal if he can really do that.
Right.
Can I just say real quick on the topic of Mitch? Something I noticed, I want to see if you guys saw this too, is that he doesn't seem to be as good laterally as he used to be. Like, it seems like he sacrificed some of his lateral quickness to bulk up. Because you watch him when he was defending Embiid in the post, he was solid. Embiid couldn't move him. But when Embiid went to face up and he tried to do face up game, he would just blow right by Mitch because, Mitch doesn't look like he has the same foot speed anymore. So I want to know if you guys saw that too.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious.
I definitely think he's lost something too, because I've seen guards kind of like get by him easier as well, and I think that's got to be part of it.
Part of it could be that just give him more time to get his body more in line with what he's thinking.
Fingers crossed. That's what I was going to say.
Fingers crossed, right? But I think that the size may actually help him from holding his ground and not using his hands and not kind of flopping all over the place and drawing fouls. So I think that's a plus. Offense is, he's not going to be there. So I think I'm okay with the trade-off between the size and the speed for him.
I mean, he hasn't really been beaten up by anyone just yet. Right. I'm sure in a game where he's just like turned back around a few times, I'm sure we'll have the right to complain about it. But so far, it's been so good, and that loss of lateral quickness hasn't mattered yet.
Right, and if you do get a point where you need him, that's when Noel comes in, right? Because Noel's still got those little, skinny. But Noel's right. He can sprint around the floor a little bit more. So if you're facing some sort of a situation where you need a center that's a little bit more, you just throw Noel out there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, now I'm a little worried because we were getting a ton of Obi Top in, and tonight he was about 12 minutes tonight, 2 seconds short of that, or actually 12 seconds short of.
He actually had more of an impact than just 12 minutes of playing time.
He was absolutely great. Yeah, I mean, Obi's been so good this season that we've been wanting to have him get minutes, and now as we get closer to full strength, he's dropped down from like 20 plus back down to 12. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Right. Go ahead, Slice.
No, go ahead, Moon. No, go ahead.
No, I think that's part of, Tibbs is probably, still trying to figure out how much he's willing to trust, big minutes to his bench guys. He's still going to ride the starters as much as he can. I don't know. How many minutes is Randall averaging?
He had 36 tonight. Average, let me
36, of course he did.
Yeah,
he was 20 points all goddamn game, and he still got 36 minutes.
He's averaging before tonight 38.3.
Right on pace.
To be fair, they had the double overtime game too, where he played 46
minutes. True.
Yeah, that might have skewed things just
in a game where he deserved to play those many minutes, right? Against Boston. Which,
in the other two games, he played 30 minutes and 38 minutes, so 34 minutes per game outside Boston.
Not bad. What you would expect, right? What we would expect from Julius Randle, right? I mean, Obi has showed that he deserves the minutes that he gets, but you really hit it on the head there. It's Tom Thibodeau, and if you don't know what Tom Thibodeau does, he runs his starters to the ground, and that's what it's going to be. The only thing he realizes is both his point guards are old. You guys can provide me with the stats, Kyle or Jim, if you guys have it handy. But I think Kemba and D Rose have a pretty even split. And I think that's really going to be our biggest thing is can we just split these guys, keep them healthy, let Quick come in, let Burks come in. We're not even worried about our rookies, but right now Quick and Burks have been showing that they got to do what they need to do. And if they can keep this going, I really love our bench pieces so far for this team.
Should we talk a little bit about Alec Burks? Because I feel like we're going to also have to talk about RJ too.
Yeah, RJ's, yeah.
Yeah, they well, I guess we can group them both together because they were both the Stink brothers tonight. Um,
And
or I
RJ's
mean,
really struggled so far the whole season, right? I just
yeah,
took a look at his percentages. It was awful.
yeah, they're not great. He was not great. He was good in the first quarter. He got us off started with eight quick points. He was like 3 or 4 from the field, as good as you can possibly get. And then he went on to miss 5 of the next 6 shots.
Do you feel like he got? Sorry. Do you guys feel like he's been frozen out on offense? I feel like there's a lot of times early on where I just see him wide open, or a logical pass in the rotation of the ball, and he just not getting it.
Yeah, he needs to. He's definitely adjusting to the new pecking order. That's for
Yeah,
sure. I mean, there was a few. I even saw down in the fourth quarter, he was like clapping to get a pass from Randall, and Randall just like looked him off, and he just kind of like went and stood in the corner. Um,
that's the problem, right? He just parks himself,
yeah,
and you have to move. He's got to cut to the basket if he wants to. Right? He's not. We know he has problems, creating and finishing. He's one way to counter it is to cut to the basket, try to get yourself open for a quick pass and an easy layup. He just doesn't do enough of that. He parks himself a little too
and
much.
he missed. I mean, he missed 2 easy layups again tonight. He had a nice one in the post. Like he got really good position in the post, and he just whiffed the layup, and then another one on the break. I mean, luckily, Taj. I think it was Taj was
It was
following.
Taj. It was Taj. Yep.
Yeah, to finish and get those points. But yeah, I mean, he's just all sort of out of whack right now. And you know what? It's not too different than last year, where he struggled right off the bat at the beginning of the season. And yeah, I mean, again, it's just like I just don't think he knows what his role is in offense yet.
I mean, I think still early, he's still young, right? So, um, the expectation is he'll pick it up. Um, they'll figure things out, I think. So I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, he's
Um,
not shooting as bad from three like he did last season to start the season, right?
right, right.
Yeah, but he
He
hasn't been good from three either.
No,
Though.
no, yeah, absolutely. He's only
Yeah.
shooting 21%. I just saw that, this season so far. But, 13, 5, and 3, not bad to start off with while you're adjusting to a new rotation. Jim, like you said, a new pecking order where you kind of fell from being second to third, fourth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
he's just being used as a floor spacer right now.
yeah, and you know what? I don't think that's a bad idea because I don't know if you guys mentioned it before. Sorry I jumped on late, but Julius Randle, 29 points, basically 11 and 6 so far to start. He only had 16 tonight, but him being our alpha dog to me is the biggest thing because a lot of people, what he did during the regular season last year was great. Fell off a bit during the playoffs, but right now he's picking back up, and he showed that he put in the work this offseason. So, while I do want to see RJ Barrett improve, I think Julius's improvement is much bigger to our success. And, I want to hear you guys' thought on that. Coming into the season, a lot of people thought RJ would be our biggest thing. Does he improve? The Knicks get better. To me, it's Julius Randle kind of maintaining where he was at while the Knicks added this talent. Jim, I'll start with you, man. Do you agree with me on that? Or do you think RJ is the bigger thing and we really need him to improve to do better than we did last year?
I think. Well, obviously, I think it's important to say for Randall to stay as good as he was last year. Like I think that for success wise, or to just at least reach the same level that we were last year. But I think RJ taking another step would probably solidify us as a second round team. And as of right now, it doesn't
Fair.
look like he's taken that step. As like as good as Randall is, I mean, we're relying on Kemba and Rose, who are kind of both old as third option type people, and for him, we really need him to take a step forward for us to take the next step. Like I don't know if there's another level to Randall. Could there be? Absolutely. But does that even progress us enough to the next level if we're going to still have Evan Fournier be our second option? So we really need RJ to take a step for us to take the next step, if that makes sense.
Nah, fair. Agreed. Definitely agree with you on that. Moo, what do you think?
Actually, I think Randall's eh, gotten better. The one I mentioned, in, I think a couple of games ago, he's putting the ball on the floor now. Right. Last year I didn't really see a lot of that. He's taking, he's putting the ball on the floor and he's taking it to the basket. That's something that I think will expand his game. Because I think there was an expectation opposing teams that when he got the ball last season, he's got two things, right? He's got the three, and he's gonna try to do that mid range. Now he's taking it to the basket, so now he's showing that if you try to guard me, right, in the two ways that traditionally I've been getting my shots, I'll put it on the floor. And he's done. I think he did that a couple of times tonight. And last season, honestly, I don't remember him doing that much at all. Um, he looks sharper. He looks quicker.
Also,
Um,
like they've been using him in pick and roll and pick and pop a little bit
right,
more as well.
right,
Well, there's been I can remember like 3 or 4 times off the top of my head where he's been the roll man and gets an easy finish.
right. Exactly. He has the skills to do that. For a guy his size and his 7 foot wingspan, if he's doing that, he's hard to stop, even for big shot blockers, right? Because he's got soft hands and he knows how to use his body to shield. So I think if he can show that he can do that, that's taking it up. I think his defense has gotten, at least visibly better. I don't know if statistically it's better, but visibly from eye test, it looks like he's
The eye
better.
test, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
eye test is definitely a lot better. And, I think, Jim, you kind of took a little slice out the box earlier, but I got a little slice as well. Julius only had one turnover tonight. And like, Moo, your point, bringing the ball to the floor, taking it down and kind of trying to, still being a facilitator like he was last year, was huge. And I think limiting his turnovers, obviously the double overtime game, I saw that he had 7, 4, 2, and 1 the last 3 games. Not gonna, that trend's not gonna stay because he's not gonna get less than one turnover the rest of the season. He's obviously gonna get more a couple of games, but I think if he keeps that number down, right now he is at 4 turnovers a game, or 4 turnovers a game compared to 6 assists. If he can keep that ratio up, maybe bring that down to 6 and 3, 6 and 2.5, which isn't out of the realm, right? Like Julius averaged about 6, 7 assists last season. If he can
He's
keep those turnovers
as of
down,
right now, he's 2-for-1 assist to turnover ratio, which is as good as you want from your
yeah,
primary
Well,
ball
not
handler.
quite, almost.
I
almost,
mean,
almost,
1.5
least
assist to turnover.
yeah.
okay. Well, yeah, because I'm looking at it. Oh, yeah, because it's 6.5, not 7.
Right.
My math is bad. Yeah, you know what the funny thing is we're obviously 3-1. We played 2 good teams out of our 4 games, and Randall
Lost
hasn't
a
even
bad
really.
one. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Randall hasn't even been particularly good.
Yeah,
He's
hang on. Can I go off of that for a second? Because
sure.
Moo, what you were saying about his improvement, I've seen it, but I've also seen he's not consistent at it yet. I know it's only through 4 games, but
Right.
you look at it, it's like you can really see it in his shooting numbers, right? So 12 for 27 first game, that's good. 9 for 16, that's really good. Then then 2 games ago, 8 for 24. He still put up 30 points because he got 14 free throws, but you'd like to see him be more efficient. And then 7 for 18 this game. So I think you're seeing potential improvement, but he's not consistently there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean,
Yeah.
that 14 free throws in this new landscape, James Harden's not getting any free throws because they're not calling those little baby bitch fouls. Julius Randle, 14 free throws. While you do bring up a good point, Kyle, with his percentages being low, I think if your percentages are low and playing a team back to back, no matter how bad they are, like the Magic are, no disrespect, but the Magic aren't really a threat this season. But
Mhm.
once you play a team home and home, back to back, they're normally going to split, and it's normally going to be a good game for one team, then a good game for the other. But I think to me, I just those 14 free throws you mentioned to me were huge because this NBA, they're not giving you those ticky tack fouls. They're not giving you those ones where you're kind of leaning into it, which I love. To me, that's the
Yes,
basketball purist
yes,
fan in me.
that is
I
so much
love it.
better.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
I love that. To me, that's great. Even Evan Fournier, it might have been either one of the Magic games or the Celtics game. He tried to lean into a foul, and I said, no, we don't do that. We're the Knicks. No blood, no foul. Don't lean into it. Don't try to, force something like you're James Harden. So to me, I love that, and I just wanted to point out if Julius can keep those free throws coming, I think that's also going to be huge this season because that's not going to be as prevalent as a lot of star players or all-star players are used to seeing.
So you want to know a fun fact about that? Actually, is that coming into tonight, Julius was top 5 in free throw attempts per game at 8. The guys above
Nice.
him, Gobert, Anthony Davis, Giannis, and for some reason Alex Len.
Alex.
man.
All big men. All big men.
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the other.
That is true. But fellas, sorry, I do have to jump off abruptly. I just did want to make sure I caught up with you guys to a fantastic start for the Knicks season so far.
Before
I'll
you
try.
go, this is my real fun fact for tonight. So, I think you want to hear this. So Jim, I think you mentioned we haven't beaten the Sixers since 2017, right? Do you
Yep.
remember that
Correct.
game? Do you guys remember that game?
No,
I'm gonna say a name. Maurice Endor.
Yeah.
That game.
Oh,
So here's-
Nigeria's
no!
finest.
So here's my fun fact, right? Obi Toppin has a career high of 14 points in a game. You want to know what Maurice Endor's career high is?
Kyle,
Six-
you're such an
16.
instigator.
16, yeah.
16 points.
15
15.
points.
15, yeah.
So confirmed, Maurice Endor better than Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Oh my. Where did we?
You
where did
made
our
me-
pick fall to? Where did our pick fall to because of that shot that he hit, that game winner?
It went one pick. It was a difference between 7 and 8. So
Okay.
it was a difference between picking Frank and like Laurie Markkinen.
Frank and Frank,
Oh.
basically.
Yeah. But here's
but-
the thing: if we had swapped with the Kings, if we had the Kings record to our record, we would have jumped to the third pick and been in position
Ooh.
to take Tatum, but we would have taken Josh Jackson. So all in all,
Yeah.
we were not winning anything there.
We're screwed anyway.
Good point. Good point. Kyle, I do hate that you made me stay on a little bit later to hear that.
You're welcome.
always great when I can hear a random Nick like Maurice Endor.
Oh man, I forgot about him. Jeez.
Oh man. But fellas, I'm gonna try to jump on with you guys at the very least. If I can't jump on as normal, I'll try to jump on as a little guest like I did tonight. Big game coming up on Thursday against the Bulls. You guys kill the end of this podcast, and then I'll definitely try to talk to you guys after a really big game because I love how Chicago's looking.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun game on
Yep.
Thursday.
Yep. All right, fellas, kill
All right.
this
Catch you
one,
later,
and I'll catch you
Slice.
guys later.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Slice checking in. So Moo, are you back up and running?
I am back up and running.
All right,
That's
cool.
what I get for a $400 GoPro.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Right into the trash. Time to upgrade
Right
to
into the
GoPro
trash.
GoPro Hero 10.
Back to my $50
Whoa.
720p. Okay.
See, that's the problem. Is you gotta splurge for that $500 GoPro.
Yeah, the
What I gotta
GoPro
do?
Max.
Yeah.
GoPro Max.
Um,
All right. I'm back.
Okay, cool. So, should we do Scrub of the Night?
Yeah.
On Fubo TV does not have he doesn't have TNT, so he couldn't join us tonight. So
Review. Right, and B just was invisible. And when he's not going, the Sixers team, they're not a good team. Again, like I said, you can't have guys like Danny Green, Korkmaz, and Georges Niang shooting corner threes to try and beat you. Right. If I take that all the time, if that's what I have to defend against. So NB definitely was just a scrub. Wow, terrible.
all right, Kyle. What are your thoughts?
Why
Scrub of the night.
don't you go? Mine's a little more exotic.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I was gonna go with Seth Curry because of Evan Fournier locking him up, but I'm gonna go with Tyrese Maxey just because IQ broke his ankles and sent him flying. So yeah, Tyrese Maxey, you got outplayed by your Duke teammate who got drafted. I mean, not Duke, Kentucky teammate that played a little bit better than y'all, and yeah. So Maxey, you are scrub of the night.
So
Yeah.
for me, originally I would have gone with Alec Burks, right? Because he was just dreadful for most of this. But then I started looking around the league a little. And because it's scrub of the night, not scrub of the game, that means I can go outside of what
Uh-oh.
happened in MSG.
I know who he's gonna take.
My scrub of the night,
All right, no.
Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
9 points,
I knew
2
it.
of 10 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3, 3 rebounds. He got an assist, which I'm pretty sure is a career high for him, so good for him there. But other than that, wow. That was the there was definitely the rare lose trade. Nobody won that trade.
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Like if Luka wasn't as good as Luka was, and they had to make that trade, we probably would have ended up with a lottery pick. It's yeah. Damn you, Luka, for being so good. All right. Do you have any final thoughts?
Very good game. I'm still, there's still some rough spots. I think, the Knicks hopefully will get better at. RJ, I didn't talk about RJ as much, but I mentioned it before. He's forcing things. He's forced a few shots. I think it's because he's feeling that, hey, otherwise I'm not going to get my shots. He's got to knock that off. If he's not getting shots, he's got to focus on defense and passing. Right, defense and passing. He left a couple of guys open, rotated a little slow getting back. That's what he needs to focus on. If you're not getting your shots, you got to defend and pass. Right, that's kind of old school. That's
I mean,
my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean that's very fair. RJ, I feel like he's losing a little bit of focus because he's not getting his opportunities on offense, and that can be a little frustrating. Really great game. My final thoughts, I guess I'm gonna go with Kemba Walker. It was good to see the Kemba Walker that we've been expecting to finally show up. It's not super great that it was just all him hitting jump shots, but you know what? He's a pretty damn good jump shooter. So if he's gonna shoot, close to 40% from three and it's off the dribble, it's gonna be a big help no matter what. I really like that. I saw that he was actually able to break down the defense a little bit. He wasn't able to get all the way to the rim, but just any paint touch is better than no paint touch. And then we got a really big game on Thursday. The 4-0 Chicago Bulls. This is the best start they've had since the 72-win season and Jordan.
Yeah.
And they've looked like they've been firing on all cylinders. And I'm a little surprised by that because I wasn't sure how Levine and DeMar DeRozan were going to fit, and they look like they've been a very good fit. And Levine has taken another step, so it should be a big challenge. But you know what? This Sixers game was a big challenge, and we pretty much ran them off the court. So, yeah. Kyle, do you have anything to say before I close this out?
So now that you mentioned that the last time Chicago was 4-0 was the 96 season. So the last time Chicago started off a season 4-0, I was like 2 weeks old.
you Utes.
Man, so I've never seen this before in my life. This is brand new to me. The Bulls are good. Wow.
So we could break that streak.
Yeah, hopefully we can give them a loss, and then we will be both at the top of the Eastern Conference Division.
Yep.
So, 112-99 victory for the New York Knickerbockers. Our first win since Maurice Endor ruined our lottery chances. 2017, so that's almost 5 years. So I guess we're going to go 4 years.
It was 5 years ago. Never forget.
Yeah, 5 years ago. Never forget. And I guess that's it. So this is another edition of the No Blood, No Foul podcast. I hope you like what you heard. Like, subscribe, listen to us live. Leave a comment. Maybe a super chat. All of that fun stuff.